Thank you so much for the introduction. I am Michelle. I am a graphic and motion designer based in Berlin, and I use code as a tool to experiment with graphics and typography, and I like to work very spatial and do interactive installations. And if there are any questions throughout this, please feel free to ask, or we can also chat afterwards, of course. Cool. I start off with showing a show reel, so you guys get somewhat of an idea what my work looks like. As mentioned, I work with code or use code as a creative medium to create interactive graphics, animations, and visual systems. And most of my work is built with P5.js. It's a JavaScript library which helps make visual elements respond to movement, touch, sound, data, or user interaction, and it allows graphics to be somewhat more dynamic. And I use it mainly as a way of thinking through ideas as well. When working with code, sometimes you get unexpected visual outcomes as well. And but working with code was never what I wanted to do initially. I was very much a film photography type of person, but I think being very much into film shaped how I do motion and graphics. And I really love symmetry, I love movement and organic motion. And I thought I would pursue film and photography during my studies in Düsseldorf. I studied visual communication there in my bachelor's, and I remember hating photography class very much. I never liked explaining everything, like all the images that I took. So I eventually turned to graphic design and had different deep dives into different disciplines, was into print and had a little deep dives into 3D illustration, but I was never great at it. And also in the first semester, I remember taking a coding class in the first semester. It was a HTML, CSS class. And I remember not liking it also very much. Like no bone in my body was like, HTML, CSS, that it's somewhat creative. Sure, it can be, for sure. But for me, during that time, during the first semester, I was like, hell no. So I let that sit for 2-3 semesters. And eventually COVID hit. Like I studied during the pandemic, like from the second semester on. And I was going through the online classes, like through these semester programs. And like in NRW, like in Nordrhein-Westfalen, we have this thing called Designwandern, where we can take classes at other unis. And so I was looking through other schools, like during looking at their classes, and I saw a class run by Cyril Kuhlmann in Dortmund, where he taught creative coding. And I was like, we had a start there, like in the first semester, like with code, but creative coding. Like I didn't know what that exactly was. So I was on YouTube and looking up what that is. And I remember taking this, like watching my first YouTube tutorial by Tim Rodenbröcker and being like, it's actually doable and it's actually somewhat fun to code. And also I took this class in Dortmund and learned the syntax, how the code is built. And I remember liking the randomness of things as well. Like with working with code, you can experiment with different parameters and get different outputs. And I think he was Sorel was the first teacher who really inspired me to work with it as well. Like he showed a bunch of examples, what is possible to work with it, and I remember being very motivated in that one semester. And I also like that you can, working with code, you learn how to break things down as well. When going from idea to execution in the code, like you learn to find different workarounds and different ways of doing things as well. For instance, this was like one of the first sketches that I did in that semester. So I said, okay, pick a letter, try to see what you can do within P5JS, like this tool that we used. And I was looking, for instance, at this letter C, and I was like, okay, trying to break it down, how to build it. And it's like a C, like it's a pretty much, like it's a circle, and like within, and there's a circle in the middle and something that breaks in the middle. So to build this code, I was like, okay, we have a black background. I put a white, like I go through the thought process with you right now. Like we have a black background, we have a white circle, and we put a black circle in the middle and a black rectangle that goes to the middle and attach it to the XY position, for instance, of the mouse position. So it's like very flexible and very responsive in size. And yeah, that's what I generally liked with working with code. Like you learn how to find different workarounds and somewhat, have a different approach to design in general. And throughout the years of doing this, I created this archive of tools that I've built throughout the years, somewhat, as if I were to do this like forever. Like I've been doing this for 3 years now, and it keeps on growing. I still keep on learning, and I still don't know that like so much, but it's just like step by step. And I like that I start with an idea on paper in general, and then I start to think about how to execute it and eventually come up with a completely different outcome, which I liked. And using these tools, like they help me also work on upcoming projects as well. Like I don't have to start completely from zero. And once you have the groundwork, you can always reiterate and repurpose. And I kind of use this collection, or I see this collection of these type tools more as a storage system, but as a storage system which always keeps on changing. And I think it's just fun. Also, I see it as like drawing with ink, like on paper, but in a digital way. And digital and interactively, And I was doing that during my studies and eventually moved to Frankfurt. I was interning at this design studio called Schulz. And I had like somewhat of an idea how code is built, like with P5JS. And that's me like 3 years ago. Look, oh my God. I was slowly getting into motion tracking as well during that time. That was with a JavaScript library called ML5JS. And I remember them saying, maybe like a different coding language would be a bit faster, like it's a bit lagging. So they were like, they were also trying to get into motion tracking as well, and they were using the programming language called Swift. It's by Apple, and Apple uses this for their Apple products, and they have this framework where it detects human body poses, and it's quite fast and detects it quite quickly. And I remember being like, okay, like hearing, like knowing, okay, all programming languages are somewhat similar, but Swift was something like, it was a different story for me, at least. I felt like it was very sensitive to errors or like bugs in the code, and I feel like working with P5JS is quite forgiving as well. So my main task was to get into Swift, and that was Frankfurt, and then came back. Like I remember after this internship, I was like, I don't think I will ever use Swift again. Like I like P5JS, and I like how intuitive it is, especially for designers, I think. Came back to Düsseldorf, and I was working I think for the very first time, like on a hands-on project with P5JS, I did this visual identity for the Werkschau with Florian Littke, and was basically doing the animations and the website or the interactive part for the visual identity for the Werkschau. And we had different different screens that we played, and that was in front of the uni. Like we had this billboard we call it the Medienwand, but yeah, we could play the visual identity weeks before the design was completely published. And yeah, so that was the first like hands-on project with P5JS, which was funny, like to execute it for digital medium, but also for print as well. Yeah, during the very same. Oh yeah, that sound. I'm gonna turn it down a bit. During the very same semester, I had my very first also projection mapping class or seminar, and it was in collaboration with another company who does projection mapping as well. And we as students had to do animations on the topic of like we had to do perspective, like we had to show our perspectives on design school in like through animation. And yeah, I remember going through all the codes, like the type tools that I had, and was trying to get out the frustration, or like showing the frustration of being like in design school as well, or like having to-do lists getting longer and longer, or having work piled up as well when working on projects. So that was my kind of venting, like on design school, I guess, or being very tired. Like even though like we're passionate about the things we do, like we work long hours, and it's not always smooth. Yeah. And yeah, that was that semester. And then I think 2-3 months later, I got the chance to work for the UEFA Euro and do a projection mapping project there. It was also through my friend Noah, who sent me this open call that they were looking for people who can animate and would like to have their animations shown or like being beamed onto the building during the soccer tournaments for the UEFA. That's how it looked like when the public screenings were happening. So they showed the soccer games before, and then afterwards they would show the animation onto the building. And yeah, here you can see how it was also in collaboration with a team who did the production as well, like beaming from different sides onto the building. I don't remember how many beamers they used exactly, but I was counting. Like I think they had like 10 beamers, I think, projecting from different angles and trying to align each beamer or like each projection onto each other. And yeah, that was during my bachelor thesis. That was also a project like which came like one month before my thesis. I was like also debating if I should take on this project, but I had like I think much more fun like doing this than doing the thesis. Yeah, but yeah, I was working in school like at uni a lot, and they were sending me this company like who did the mapping were sending me this After Effects file and breaking down how the building is built. So it had 3 layers, and also they wanted me to render it out in 16K. I was like, my laptop was already on its limits, like with Bachelor. Yeah, but sure, let's render 16K simultaneously at the same time. Yeah. So I was working in this file a lot and was looking at this building, and also I had a few learnings from the first projection mapping project where it was like on a flat surface. And also they said like for that last project to not make the animation too fast as well, because like if people are standing up close, people get somewhat dizzy and cannot fully grasp the animation. So for this building, I was like, how slow should I go? Yeah, that was the animation that I eventually sent in. I was trying to find a good common ground, on the speed, not making it too fast, because I was like, okay, it's maybe twice or 3 times as big or 4 times as big. So maybe make it so super slow. Yeah, eventually, like also we did not had any chance to test it out onto the building as well. So it's like, it's either a hit or miss, but yeah, let's send it. Yeah, eventually this is how it looked like. And it's, no, it's intended. Like we wanted it to be like this. Yeah, but yeah, it's way too slow, I think. But it's funny to to see the animation onto a building like in Düsseldorf. It's also like one of my favorite buildings like in the city. Like if you're ever in Düsseldorf, the Schauspielhaus, like the theater, very nice. Yeah, but yeah, it's way too slow, but lots of learnings throughout these projects, and funny to see the animation on being projected onto it. And yeah, eventually graduated and moved to Berlin. I've been living there for 1.5 years now, and I moved there for my master's program where I applied at, and it's called Design and Computation. It's a interdisciplinary research-based master's program at UDK and TU Berlin. And yeah, it's like I see it mostly as an open space where people from different backgrounds come to and work together on several projects, and depends on everyone's interest, these projects emerge, and it's quite open, I would say. I feel like also explaining this master's program is like an art in itself. Like everybody does so different. Yeah, but it's very open, like the projects that we do there. And yeah, we had a big, beautiful studio where we work in NTU, but it's now closed ever since a month now. Like TU building, like the main building has closed because of water damage, and we don't know when we can go back in. But yeah, but we have we study at two different unis, so there's UDK as well. So I hang out there a lot as well. That's my workspace where I always hang out. And yeah, I'm currently also at Infoklasse. They're dealing with information and data, and yeah, this is a very lovely class, I think. Yeah, during my master's there, or during my time there, I got to work for Audi. They, like, through an agency, like they asked, or they were planning on doing a social media campaign where they featured 5 different artists from 5 different cities. They had Munich, Stuttgart, Düsseldorf, Hamburg, and Berlin. And yeah, they asked if I wanted to represent Berlin in the category digitality. I was like also that was during my second semester, so I lived there for not even like half a year. So I was like, sure. Also cars, like my closest thing to cars, like I love this movie, right? Like this movie I loved Sally, like the blue car. Yeah. I was like, sure, let me work with the car that they have. That was my Sally. It's still ingrained in my mind, the Audi A6 Avant. Yeah, they were asking, they were like, yeah, you work so much with projection mapping and with code, and do you want to project onto the car? I was like, sure. So far, I've shown all the projection mappings that I've done so far, so this is the third one. I was like, yeah. And the first one was like on a matte wall, and the second was on the matte building, and this time it was onto a car, which also can reflect. It has edges, it has shapes, and I was like, sure, let's do it. Yeah. They were like, yeah, you have all these like type tools that you did in the past. What if we projected onto the car? And I was also doing this project alongside uni, so I was like somewhat like juggling between doing doing class and working for this car company. And yeah, for that, like I was very quite thankful for using code in general as a medium, because I had all these tools already archived, and I can go back and see what makes sense to work on this project with. And it's so adaptable, and I think working with code is quite it's thankful for that. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, they gave me different terms to project onto the car. Like I was going through my archive and was adapting, and we had 3 different. Because we also filmed it, we also planned the shooting completely, like the film shoot. So we had 3 different angles. We had one perspective from the front, from the back, and also with 4 perspectives. Also within the car and also from the top. And we had a mood board, and I supported them. They supported me with the creative direction of doing this film shoot as well. And that was also my first time working on this somewhat of a scale. Also with a bigger team, like not just the designer and just like a few other designers, but like with a film team. There were people who worked, who were doing the lights, the agency, and also I had projection mapping support as well. That was now we're getting into the the days of this production. That was Andreas Schwarzburger. I worked with him on he supported me with putting the beamers up. Like we had different beamers, I think like 3.5-ish. And I remember walking into that studio, I was like, wow, like we're actually doing this. Like because like before that, like we were we were talking a lot, like I think like a couple of weeks of doing meetings and talking these days through where we shoot this video or the social media campaign. And also then I would see like this car being coming into the studio. I was like, okay, we're actually we're doing this. So that was funny. Also doing real time setting type in real time as well was also quite interesting, because it's not we don't do it completely digital. We work in the studio and we worked with different angles and perspectives, and for instance, the Hey was projected from the front and the Audi was projected from the top. There was a beamer on top. So the beamer on top, you see it somewhat in the middle. It's projecting like this, but when you film from the front, we had to adjust that it looks somewhat readable when you see it from the front. Also, depending on where you stand as well. The camera was filming going from the right to the left side. So depending where you stand, it also changes the way you read the type as well. And so that was also funny, working on set with them and seeing how it's executed. Not only digitally, but with a film team and in real time. And I had these type tools that I've used, and they were projected into the Hoekele, into the studio. And also they were at my place. They were they wanted to, because it was filmed, we had 3 videos, and they wanted to see where my studio is at. And my studio is literally my WG-Zimmer, 12 square meters. I also just moved in as well. And they were we want to film there, and also just have a second monitor that I use, and it's really not that deep. So I moved my studio to the living room, and also before they came, they were do you have a fire alarm, Feuermelder? And I was yeah, and they were cool. I was cool. And then they were there, and we had this interview setting, and at some point they had a smoking machine, smoking up my living room. I was okay, cool, that's what it's for. And also, so many little small moments, which I think was kind of funny. But also, on the 3rd day, we had this, we shot at the event location. I had to sit in the car for some reason, and for the film, I guess. And they had, I had to go through the, see what they have, what features they have, and they had a car game, Mario Kart game. So that was funny, just to hang out and I guess filming this film shoot and playing Mario Kart in the car. Eventually we had 3 videos. It also has sound. I won't. You will hear me talk. We will not double it up. But you can find it online, and and that I never thought like that I at some point would do anything like this, like nearly close. But yeah, I learned like so much like through this, like working with more than just like another designer. It was like lots of learning and also just lots of like hanging out with the team as well. Like I remember like having like 3 days of the film shoot, and it was like lots of chatter in between, and yes, I think I want to do like more of these like projects where I see where the I want to see where in which context these type tools can also exist, and yeah, just lots of learning, I guess, like throughout these whole projects. Yeah, so I've talked a lot about my work that I did in the past, but alongside the work I do, I also think a lot about what it means to work in design as well. Like I question the centrality of creative work in itself, and try to understand the structures that we work in as well, and just understanding the waters we swim in as designers. And yeah, I'm dealing with these questions while simultaneously going through them as well. So my thoughts are somewhat messy, but yeah, in the next couple of minutes, you will see me like blurring out like on my thoughts on work in general, and maybe there's something you can relate to as well. Yeah, one book that accompanied me somewhat throughout this whole like this thought process was this book by Silvio Lorusso, What Design Can't Do. And he talks about the precarity in design, about the conditions of uncertainty and instability that is both professionally, material, economically, and also existentially in design. And yeah, like if you feel somewhat frustrated, like I can highly recommend this book. I think it's very honest, and I think it's written very witty, which is wonderful. And yeah, I enjoyed it. So maybe you do too. Yeah, throughout all these projects, I feel like this beam very much embodied like the way I felt, and maybe some of you too. But yeah, I feel like as designers, like we have like so many little things that are going on. Like you work overtime, and then you have this client, you have a deadline, and then Adobe keeps on crashing. Then you experience burnout, and then like, I don't know, there's like no bone in your body that wants to sit at that desk and keep on working. And yeah, no social life, or you work for free. And then there's people who want you to learn to code. Could not be me, right? Yeah, and then there's a client who wants you to make the logo bigger, and you have the feeling you have to keep on update your portfolio. Like it's never ending somewhat. Yeah. And I think just there's like so much mess around design. It's also learning a new software. It's paying for Adobe yearly, and reading Josef Brockmann, I feel like in the first semester. Yeah, and also design open calls, like doing all this free work, and it also takes so much time as well, or watching tutorials and understanding shit, and going a few seconds back because you missed a step. Yeah. We've been there, right? Yeah, I feel like visible work is like the smallest part of labor. I feel like the stroke is so tiny, but never mind. Yeah, visible work is the smallest part of labor. I think work is not what gets done, but work is what happens while trying to get something done. Like you just see the final polished outputs, the final project, but there's like so much invisible work, I think, which is happening in the background. And I try to like list them down just to see what it all incorporates. It's a lot of administrative work, like answering emails and doing documentation, documenting your work and archiving your work, and also doing your research, doing your reading, and also something simple as organizing your desktop of all the screenshots, and also backupping your projects as well. Like it's also work, and also it's a lot of like emotional and cognitive labor, I think, as well. Like trying to stay motivated throughout the project, and regulating stress or managing expectations of a client, of yourself, of the people who you work for. And yeah, I think like I just question what it means to work, what it means to be productive as well. Like what does it mean to work a certain number of hours, compressing time, effort, attention, and experience into one single value. And yeah, like just a lot of questioning. Maybe not, I don't have the answers, but just like being aware of these things, I think is just interesting, just to observe as when you work. Yeah, but not only that is work, it's also getting coffee and so much more, I think. Like I'm so interested like in the micro activities or lists that accumulate into a working day. And none of this is inherently work, but it embodies work, and I think it's just so work core, and I think it's just interesting to be aware of the things that surround you or in your daily practice. And yeah, with all that said, like about being work being everywhere, I think work is also just work. I see it more as a cycle which keeps on repeating. Like you start motivated, you start being pumped for a project, and you slowly but surely work longer, and then the next day a bit longer and longer and longer, like towards a deadline, and you stress yourself more out to it, like towards this deadline, and you end up somewhat miserable towards the end. And then this project finishes, and then it's like, okay, what now? Like then the next project arises and it starts all over again. And yeah, I feel like dealing with this topic or thinking about this a lot, also during my master's right now. Like the more I deal with it, like the more I want to move slower as well. Like I want to worry so much less about projects doing well. And also if it's not doing well, like I don't want to have an impact on on me in general. And yeah, I care in general like so much about enjoying what you do, enjoy working with, like enjoy the people that you work with as well. For me, also like this Audi thing, like it was never like, oh, I work for Audi, but more about like hanging out with the people and just like these like small in between moments, or just chatting about I don't know, like what TV shows that they watch, or playing chess, I don't know, like before this. And in general, just like enjoy where you're at, and enjoy to like, if you're gonna be ending up somewhat miserable throughout this project, might as well like have try to have somewhat of a good time, because it's also passing. Like every good project passes, but also every bad project passes. So might as well enjoy where you're at, I think. And yeah, also like we're coming towards the end, but also one last thing that I wanted to share, I think, was that if you're if you have the possibility to take your time like during your studies, just take it. I feel like the best work just comes from a place when like out of curiosity, like if you finish like all your classes and can maybe like it extends like I think you can just take your time. And I don't know, during my time, like during my bachelor's, I was studying also for quite a bit, and during that time I was doing all these type tools as well. I was doing so much. Like I did it just for myself because I liked doing it, and not because I had to explain it to my professor as well what I'm doing. So if you have the time, then just go for it if you genuinely are curious about it. And also just go easy. Like work is also just work. And with that saying, thanks so much for having me. It's been so lovely. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask, or we can also chat afterwards. And thank you so much.
Wie war es für dich, mit dem Coding anzufangen, obwohl du erst etwas, jetzt wo du mit HTML und CSS angefangen hast, hast du ja erzählt, dass du jetzt nicht gerade diese Anziehung gespürt hast. Aber wie war es, diese Hürde zu überkommen, doch dich reinzuarbeiten? Ich habe das eben gerade gegoogelt, ich habe auch schon wieder den Namen vergessen, wie es heißt, aber das, was du nutzt, um das zu programmieren, das ist ja schon sehr abstrakt, erstmal da reinzukommen. Wie war diese Reise da rein irgendwie?
Also P5.js wahrscheinlich hast du gegoogelt. Genau. Ja, ich glaube, ich hatte einfach, ich finde, es kommt auch darauf an, wer einen das lehrt. Ich hatte halt den einen Prof in Dortmund, und der hat halt Beispiele gezeigt, was möglich ist oder was für Arbeiten man damit machen kann. Und ich glaube, der hat einen richtig motiviert, irgendwie damit anzufangen. Und der hat halt auch gezeigt, der hat gesagt, okay, ist auch irgendwie ein bisschen eine andere Denkweise, irgendwie an Gestaltung ranzukommen. Und ich fand es, glaube ich, einfach genuinely einfach nur interessant, und deshalb war ich motiviert genug, halt weiter damit zu arbeiten. Ja.
Und dann zack, hat es dich erwischt und dann bist du einfach immer tiefer gegangen?
Ich würde schon sagen, also ich finde P5.js schon intuitiv. Also es sieht sehr abstrakt aus, oder es sieht einfach nur Code nach Code nach Code nach Code irgendwie, also halt voll abstrakt aus. Aber ich finde, also man kann damit schon, also ich sehe das so als Baustein irgendwie. Du hast ein Rectangle, du hast eine Ellipse und du kannst eigentlich relativ easy irgendwie reinstarten, auch wenn es ganz simpel ist. Ich finde, die besten Sachen, die habe ich ganz früher gemacht, also vielleicht im ersten Semester sogar. Irgendwie ganz simpel anfangen und ich weiß nicht, also in dem Prozess irgendwie eine Idee auch weiterzuentwickeln, entstehen noch andere Ideen oder es passieren andere Sketches, nennt man das, also andere andere Entwürfe, die jetzt nicht erwartet, also die irgendwie unerwartet kommen. Und ich finde, das motiviert auch einen. Zum Beispiel, man hat eine Idee, man fängt mit der einen an und bei dem Versuch, zu dieser Idee zu kommen, hast du schon weitere 10 neue andere Entwürfe, die du für andere Projekte zum Beispiel oder auch keine Projekte oder einfach für dich erstellen kannst. Ja. Und das motiviert auch einen, weil voll viel durch diesen Prozess entsteht. Und am Ende kommst du noch nicht mal zu dieser Idee an, aber vielleicht sind sogar die Ideen, die auf dem Weg dahin passieren, sogar noch interessanter. Ja, also ich finde es schon intuitiv und schon interessant, irgendwie da reinzusteigen. Und es ist nicht zu scary. Also I get it, aber ich finde es auch voll interessant, wie man, also welche Entwürfe dabei entstehen in dem Prozess.
Okay, ja. Keine Angst haben, wird notiert.
Nee,
Danke.
Ja, exactly.
Was sagst du denn zum Thema Vibe-Coding?
Vibe-Coding, interesting, ja. Also ich habe zu einer Zeit angefangen, wo es noch nicht so ein Fall war, aber ich glaube, man kann es nicht vermeiden. Also I guess it's good, also wenn man schnell auf Ergebnisse kommen möchte, aber wenn man so wirklich so den Code verstehen möchte und wissen will, wie der aufgebaut ist und manchmal willst du auch ein paar Ideen tweaken, also ein paar Sachen selbst tweaken, I guess. Also erstmal zu verstehen, was möglich ist, denke ich, ist sehr hilfreich, um, wenn du damit arbeitest oder wenn man damit arbeitet, damit zu kommunizieren. Ja, aber ich finde erstmal so eine Basis, es ist wirklich nicht zu schwer. Also man muss ein bisschen, also es ist ein bisschen eine Hürde, erstmal einzusteigen, aber sobald man so die Basis hat, just go for it. Also, ja.
Ist ja auch voll so, dass so das, was man prompten kann, ja eigentlich nur auf dem basiert, was man eigentlich schon weiß, was geht. Dass man irgendwie weiter man weiß, was irgendwie möglich ist, ja auch irgendwie mehr reinkommt. Dann.
Voll. Yes.
Ich muss die Frage, glaube ich, während dem Sprechen auch noch so halb formulieren, aber ich glaube, so wenn man so in den Raum geschaut hat, war so, du hast so gedroppt, so okay, ja, und dann habe ich so das Projekt für die UEFA, für die Euro gemacht und dann irgendwie so einen Job für Audi oder so, wo du da so reingekommen bist. Und ich glaube, das hat viele so, waren so, wow, okay, what the fuck, what am I doing wrong, dass irgendwie ich noch nichts für Audi mache oder was weiß ich so. Hast du vielleicht irgendwie so Tipps, wie man so während dem Studium vielleicht schon so offen für sowas sein kann? Weil ich glaube so, das sind viele Sachen, die dir vielleicht auch irgendwie einfach passiert sind, aber ich glaube, es hat ja trotzdem Gründe, dass du da reingekommen bist und nicht vielleicht irgendwie andere. Wie ist man offen vielleicht dafür, dass einem sowas passiert? Ergibt diese Frage Sinn?
Doch, es ergibt Sinn. Ich wünsche, es gibt so eine Formula, wie man irgendwie das, ich glaube, zu der Zeit habe ich halt auch viel, also meine Arbeiten online gepostet auch und halt diese Arbeiten, die halt, also diese Type-Tools, die ich da früher gemacht habe, also ich habe die für mich gemacht oder weil ich es genuinely einfach interessant finde, halt mit Code zu arbeiten oder weil ich die Ergebnisse irgendwie interessant fand, dann habe ich die einfach geteilt und es kam halt mit der Zeit und dann haben Leute das gesehen und dann kam das so rein, aber auch über Freunde oder man einfach Augen offen halten, ob es vielleicht Design, Open Calls gibt. Also I guess aktiv sein und schauen, was offen ist.
Vielleicht auch so ein bisschen die Frage von so, wie sehr würdest du jetzt so also auf die Sachen so sagen, das ist irgendwie auch ein bisschen Glück. Also weil das ist ja voll so ein Feld, so dass Leute, die die irgendwie erfolgreich sind, definitiv Glück hatten vielleicht, aber dass ihnen das auch passiert ist, liegt auch daran, dass sie es konnten. Also
Ja.
wie würdest du das so da bei den Sachen verorten?
Ich habe das Gefühl, auch Creative Coding ist immer noch so ein Niche. Oder vielleicht ist es jetzt up and coming. Also immer noch so ein Niche-Bereich. Also nicht unglaublich viele, vielleicht, also es wird jetzt immer mehr, aber nicht unglaublich viele arbeiten zurzeit damit. Und vielleicht ist es Glück, dass Leute dann die Projekte gesehen haben. Aber ich glaube, also einfach viel machen. Also ich hatte halt zu der Zeit früher halt voll viel gemacht und halt Sachen gemacht, weil ich die selbst mag und nicht, weil ein Prof sagt, okay, bis nächste Woche müsst ihr das zeigen. Ja, und dann kommt das irgendwie, also einfach Sachen machen, auf die ihr Bock habt, denke ich. Und dann kommt das irgendwie. Und dann sehen Leute auch, dass ihr Bock habt und dann ergibt sich das, I guess. Ja.
Mich würde es noch so standortmäßig ein bisschen interessieren, weil ich selber komme auch aus NRW. Ob es für dich einen großen Unterschied macht, jetzt in Berlin zu studieren? Weil ich habe schon das Gefühl, dass da so die Community nochmal was ganz anderes ist. Aber genau das wäre meine Frage eigentlich, ob da ein großer Unterschied für dich besteht.
Ja. Also ich habe Kommunikationsdesign im Bachelor studiert, also sehr designlastig. Und jetzt, wo ich in Berlin bin und diesen Masterstudiengang mache, und es ist schon ein Unterschied, weil es auch jetzt kein klassischer, also es ist jetzt nicht Master Kommunikationsdesign, also es ist Design and Computation. Es ist ein recht freier Studiengang. Das sind Leute die Architektur studiert haben, Archäologie auch, Biologie, auch Leute, die Engineering in der Vergangenheit gemacht haben oder auch Design. Und wenn Design, dann viele UX, UI-Designer, muss ich sagen. Aber wir haben halt Leute von verschiedenen Studiengängen und in dem Sinne ist es auch irgendwie anders. Also in den Kreisen, die man sich bewegt oder welche Eindrücke man von den anderen bekommt. Also ich denke, es macht schon einen Unterschied, aber auch nur, weil ich in einem anderen Studiengang jetzt bin. Aber auch in Berlin, also sind viel mehr Eindrücke, da passiert viel mehr, finde ich. Und es ist auch viel schneller. Also ich dachte, Düsseldorf wäre schon schnell oder groß. Ja, Konstanz. Also ich bin jetzt gestern angekommen. Einfach den Unterschied. Also der Unterschied ist einfach stark. Also man merkt einfach, alles ist langsamer und entspannter. Was auch voll sweet ist. Also ich habe auch gestern, ich war hier in der Uni und auch voll cute, dass es nicht zu groß ist. Ich dachte früher, Düsseldorf wäre groß I don't know. Aber Berlin ist schon viel mehr los. Und jedes Mal, wenn ich zurück in Düsseldorf bin, dann merke ich, okay, es ist einfach langsamer alles und auch voll schön langsam. Und Konstanz noch langsamer. Aber ich weiß nicht, alles hat deren schönen Seiten, also andere Seiten an sich. Ja. Also es gibt Unterschiede, aber keins ist besser als das andere.
Ich wollte fragen, wie war das für dich, das so zu juggeln mit deinen Jobs und dem Bachelor dann, weil du warst ja auch im letzten Semester oder im vorletzten und dann auch im zweiten Semester im Master so. War das da, es war ja natürlich nicht normal, denke ich, und einfach, wie ging es dir dabei? Natürlich, du meinst ja Workload und so, aber hattest du da irgendwie, würdest du sagen, boah, das war ganz schlimm oder so,
Ja, zum Ende hin habe ich zu diesem zweiten Teil zu Creative Practice, also als ich blurred out on my thoughts on work, also halt der Grund, warum ich halt in dieses Thema irgendwie reingestiegen bin, ist, weil, es war halt so viel, also irgendwie Uni und halt an diesen anderen Projekten zu arbeiten und irgendwie überall gerecht zu werden. Also es gibt einen Professor in der Uni oder Professorin, die wöchentlich das von einem verlangt. Und dann gibt es halt diesen anderen Teil, wo man bis zur nächsten Woche schon diese Animation fertig haben soll. Also es war schon nicht wenig, muss ich sagen. Und mir ging es auch zu der Zeit nicht gut. Und deshalb bin ich auch in dieses Thema eingestiegen, weil ich nicht jedes Mal, wenn ein Projekt anfängt oder wenn Projekte anfangen, dass ich am Ende immer miserable irgendwie ende. Ich so, no more of this. Ich so, nein. Deshalb denke ich mir, okay, wenn ich immer miserable Also wenn Projekte immer stressiger werden, also, oder deren Ups und Downs haben, dann... Also es wird immer wieder kommen. Also ich denke so, okay, also was ich meinte, ein Projekt fängt an, aber es wird auch enden. Und das zu wissen, dass jedes gute, aber jedes schlechte Projekt oder was ein bisschen stressiger läuft, dass das auch endet, ist, also calms me down. Und ja, also generell, solange man irgendwie an den Projekten irgendwie ein bisschen Spaß hat, dann ist es doch die Hauptsache, finde ich. Oder wenn man die Leute, also mit den Leuten, mit denen man arbeitet, mit denen irgendwie eine gute Zeit hat, dann ist das das Beste. Ja.
Ja, also was mir jetzt gerade in den Kopf kam, du hast ja deine Aufgaben und Aufträge teilweise erledigt, während du noch im Studium warst. Fandest du, dass sich das auch in der Bezahlung reflektiert hat oder fandest du, dass deine Arbeit auch von dann größeren Auftragsgebern angemessen bezahlt wurde?
Ja. Unterschiedlich, also auch je nachdem, für wen man arbeitet. Ich glaube, die wussten auch alle, dass ich studiere, immer noch studiere. Bei manchen Projekten war generell mehr Budget da oder die hatten schon vorher in dem Open Call zum Beispiel schon vorher gesagt, wie viel Budget für jede Person ist. Also da waren noch andere GestalterInnen, die auch deren Arbeiten projiziert bekommen haben. Also bei manchen wusste man, wie viel man verlangt, also unabhängig, ob man studiert oder nicht mehr studiert. Bei dem anderen Projekt, nee, ich glaube, also es hatte keinen Unterschied gemacht, ob ich studiere oder nicht. Also die haben gesagt, ja, wie viel ist deine Arbeit wert? Auch eine Frage, was man als Studentin, also muss man sich auch erstmal hinsetzen und überlegen, wie viel kann ich dafür verlangen. Nee, aber ich glaube nicht, dass die mich anders irgendwie, also dass der Preisunterschied da war. Nee. Also ich habe halt meinen Wert, einen Preis angegeben und der wird like, okay, ja, ich so, okay, ja.
Hast du hinterher gedacht, du hättest mehr angeben wollen?
Nee, also es war reichlich, ja. Ja, also ich war ehrlich und dann, ich habe es gesagt und dann haben die es angenommen, ja.
Also bist du inzwischen auf Coding spezialisiert oder gibt es auch andere Dinge, die dich interessieren? Also benutzt du auch andere Software oder machst Projekte, die jetzt eher so vielleicht klassischeres Grafikdesign sind zum Beispiel?
Also Coding ist das Tool, was ich am meisten verwende für Projekte, aber ich passe es auch je nachdem an, was gefragt wird. Manche wollen Visual Identity, also brauchen Support für deren Visual Identity, dann brauchen die jemand, also die Animation macht. Und dann schaue ich, okay, macht es Sinn überhaupt mit P5.js zu arbeiten? Wenn nicht, dann verwende ich das auch nicht. Also dann verwende ich After Effects. Aber es kommt je nach Projekt an, ja. Aber es ist flexibel. Also ich mache Visual Identity, ich mache Animation, sei es interaktiv oder nicht interaktiv. Ja, aber ich mag auch also ich liebe Grafik, also ich mag gutes Layout. Also ich könnte das auch machen, also wenn es angefragt wird. Ja.
Bei Kunden wie Audi oder UEFA, wahrscheinlich kommt dann ja auf Dauer noch mehr dazu aus der Größe. Das ist jetzt nicht wertend. Machst du dir da ethisch Gedanken dazu?
Voll. Also gerade auch mit diesem zweiten Teil, für wen arbeitet man als Gestalterin? Also habe ich auch voll viel gehadert. Also es war ja nicht nur, okay, ich mache eine Animation auf das Auto, da wird man auch selbst irgendwie gezeigt. Und ich weiß, ich bin jetzt nicht die Erste, die jetzt sagen würde, boah, Autos, vielleicht Cars, dieser Film, aber nee, ich habe mir schon Gedanken gemacht, was ich mache überhaupt als Gestalterin und habe das mehr irgendwie als Learning Experience gesehen, generell mit einem größeren Team zu arbeiten und ja, und versuche einfach eine gute Zeit zu haben, aber trotzdem voll problematisch und ich verstehe es auch voll. Also ich mache mir ethisch Gedanken schon, aber dann zum Teil denke ich mir auch so, ich weiß nicht, wann nochmal so eine Chance irgendwie als Gestalterin, also die noch halt studiert, wo sowas nochmal kommen würde. Deshalb habe ich mir so den Fokus mehr drauf gesetzt, okay, was kann ich denn dabei lernen, also was kann ich in dem Prozess noch lernen? Und es war ja auch alles, also nicht komplett neu für mich, aber es war, also Projection Mapping auf ein Auto, noch nie gemacht, aber ich nehme eine Challenge an. Ja, ja, aber trotzdem voll valid die Frage, für wen man arbeitet. Ja.
Dazu noch eine Nachfolgefrage. Glaubst du, es wäre auch gut möglich gewesen, wenn du dann so sagst, so ja, ich mache den Auftrag gerne, aber so zum Beispiel in meinen eigenen 4 Räumen möchte ich zum Beispiel nicht gefilmt werden. Glaubst du, es hätte deine Zusammenarbeit behindert oder wäre das auch genauso in Ordnung gewesen, da irgendwie noch eine Grenze zu ziehen?
Ja. Ich glaube, es wäre auch voll fein gewesen. Also ich arbeite ja nicht nur von zu Hause. Ich habe ja noch eine Uni, wo ich gehe. Und das ist, I guess, mein Studio. Ja, aber ich hätte auch voll sagen können, ja, es ist ein bisschen zu viel oder ich würde nicht ungern in meinem WG-Zimmer filmen. Also ich glaube, es hätte nichts dabei geändert. Und es war ein junges Team. Alle waren also voll lieb und man konnte auch offen kommunizieren, was einem passt, was einem nicht passt. Aber eigentlich eigentlich konnte man eigentlich alles ansprechen. Ja.
Okay, also nochmal einen riesengroßen Applaus für Michelle. Ganz, ganz vielen Dank dir.